Hey everyone, I'm Joe, and today, as the video title suggests, I am doing my Spring 2016 book haul. There are 20 books in total, which sounds a lot until you find out there's actually only 5 authors. So this actually will be a lot quicker than it would be otherwise. I'm particularly pleased with all of the books in this haul, and unlike various of my previous hauls, I do actually intend to read most of the books in this haul fairly soon, within the next 2 to 3 months, which for me is extremely quickly. Anyway, I can start talking about the books. The first book is Embassy Town by Cormac McCarthy. If you didn't know already by now, I am a big fan of Cormac McCarthy. He is an author that writes in the new weird subgenre, and indeed he's one of the biggest authors within it, and most people consider him to be sort of like the founder of the new weird subgenre. This is extremely well regarded amongst his books. I mean, lots of his books are held in high regard, and as an author in a whole he is, but this is in particular though. This is one of his earlier books, as far as I'm aware. I know very little about the plot because frankly I've been avoiding finding out anything to do with the plot, but these still sound really interesting, and I'll just quickly read it. Embassy Town, a city of contradictions on the outskirts of the universe. Avis is an immerser, a traveller on the Ima, the sea of space and time below the everyday, now returned to her birth planet. Here on Erika, humans are not the only intelligent life, and Avis has a rare bond with the native, the enigmatic hosts who cannot lie. Only a tiny cadre of unique human ambassadors can speak language and connect the two communities, but an unimaginable new arrival has come to Embassy Town, and when this ambassador speaks, everything changes. Catastrophe looms. Avis knows the only hope is for her to speak directly to the alien hosts, and that is impossible. Yeah, this sounds like a very familiar Mieville. It sounds very weird. The language is probably going to be unusual in some way, and I suspect, like the other Mievilles that I've read, it will be brilliant, and I will probably rate it quite highly. I certainly hope so anyway. The second book is Burning Chrome by William Gibson. I have to thank Adriana for reminding me that this book actually exists. I had heard of Burning Chrome and I knew it was William Gibson's, but I had no idea what it was about, and I was in no hurry to read it until Adriana mentioned it in a comment on my video 2 weeks ago and got me very curious about it. And when I looked into it, I realised that I really wanted it, because this is a short story collection of about 9 or 10 short stories, I think, and they are set within the Sprawl universe. The Sprawl universe is the same universe that Neuromancer, which is Gibson's most famous book, is set in, which I actually have over my shoulder just there somewhere. And one of these short stories as well, I didn't realise, is Johnny Mnemonic, which in 1995 was actually turned into a film with Keanu Reeves. I didn't realise the film was based on a short story, especially not by Gibson. So I'm very curious to now see what this book is about, and in particular Johnny Mnemonic. I quite like the film. It's one of those films where it's bad in a lot of ways, but it's also good because of it. So yeah, I'm definitely interested in this. The next 2 books are by an author that I've mentioned many times before on my channel, and that is Gather Yourself Together and The World Jones Made, both by Philip K. Dick. If you didn't know already, I am also a big fan of Philip K. Dick. I have an awful lot of his books just there behind my left shoulder. My plan is to own every single Philip K. Dick book by the end of this year, 2016. I don't know whether I'm going to be able to manage that, because Philip K. Dick was known for the bizarre nature of his books as well as the sheer number of his books. I still have about 25 of his books roughly to get, so it's going to take me a good few months, and indeed it will take me actually the remainder of the year for me to achieve my objective to own his entire collection. And when I do, I'm then going to read through the whole series, but that's for next year anyway. These sound really, really interesting. I don't really know too much about the plot though, very much, other than they sound really weird and really bizarre, which Philip K. Dick is perfectly normal. This one is to do with some people left behind in China in a factory, and some sort of weird events go on. Frankly, I don't really know much more. And this is to do with a guy who can see a year into the future, and this ability proves problematic. Obviously, people want the ability to see 1 year into the future, and again, weird, but frankly normal for the go dick, and really interesting. Now, it's 6 books by the 4th and penultimate author I'm going to talk about, and that is 6 of the robot books by Isaac Asimov. The first of them that I have is I, Robot, which they made into a film about 10 years ago now with Will Smith. I actually quite liked it as well. The rest of the robots, both of those 2 books are short story collections. They both get about 8 to 10 short stories in them, I believe. And the next book is The Cave of Steel. This is the first full-length robots book. Then The Naked Sun, which is the second full robot book. Then The Robots of Dawn, which is the third full robots book. It's also the fattest of the lot. And finally, Robots and Empire, which is the 4th and final robots book. There are a few more robots books, but I haven't got them yet. I have only read the Foundation books, which are also over my shoulder somewhere there, if I remember correctly. But I've never read any of the robots book until fairly soon, because I do want to read these. I like the Foundation books. The robots books sound really interesting, and if you didn't know anything about them, which I don't know too much, all I know is they're set in a universe where sentient AI robots are around. They do everyday tasks for people. There are the 3 laws of robotics, where they're meant to be the perfect 3 laws. Obviously, whether they are perfect is debatable, and obviously that's what the point of the books is, to find out whether they work or not. And they just sound really interesting, and obviously they're important within the science fiction genre, because the 3 laws, and indeed Asimov himself, he's been referenced in multiple modern cultural references, you know, in Simpsons, in all over the place basically. Asimov has been mentioning, so I'm quite eager to get to these finally. Okay, that's 10 of the 20 books gone. The final 10 books are all by the same author, and that is the entire collection of books by Cormac McCarthy. Cormac McCarthy only wrote 10 books, so I have his entire catalogue of books. His books were originally suggested to me by a friend about 4 years ago, and the first book which I have is The Orchard Keeper, which I read. The second book which I've also read is No Country for Old Men. I actually did a review of this about 1.5 years ago now. The third book which I also read is The Road, and the other books I haven't read now. That is Sutri, Blood Meridian, Outer Dark, All the Pretty Horses. This is book 1 in a trilogy. It's the only sequels that he's ever wrote. The next is The Crossing, book 2 in the trilogy, and the third book in the trilogy is Cities of the Plain, and the 10th book is Cities of God. All of these books were suggested to me by my friend. I've been wanting to get them in paperback for a long time now, especially when 2 years ago he sadly died very suddenly and unexpectedly, and ever since then I've had a really great desire to own these books. I don't know why, but I've been very eager to obtain them and give them pride of place on my shelf, and now I can. And these books are all really good. From what I know, that at least the 3 that I've read are definitely brilliant. The other 7 look and sound equally fantastic. Most of them have a western feel. They're not all necessarily traditional westerns, obviously. One of them is more of a sort of western horror. One of them is somewhat science fiction, and one of them is a post-apocalyptic, which is The Road. They're all held in high regard, as is Cormac McCarthy, and frankly I'm eager to work my way through all 10 of these in the near future. So that's it for the books in this haul. If you've read any of these or would like to read any of them, then please leave me a comment and we can have a discussion about them, as always. Also, if you have any suggestions for me about books you think I might like based on anything similar to these, or indeed anything that you think I might like based on previous videos or such, then feel free to suggest them in this video or any other video. I'm always open to new suggestions and new authors, and hopefully this will obviously broaden my range of reading in general, and obviously therefore I'll talk about more of a wider range of books. All my social media links can be found in the description box below, as they always are, and that is it for this video. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you another day. Bye for now.